Most people chase attention, talk too much, and show their every move. That's why they stay ordinary. If you want to be untouchable, you must master the laws of dark psychology. These laws are not taught in schools. They are hidden in human behavior. And once you know them, no one can manipulate you. Comment this right now. I choose power. The first law begins with unpredictability. Have you ever noticed how the most dangerous people are not the ones who shout the loudest or explain their every move, but the ones you can't figure out? Predictable people are like open books, easy to read, easy to trap. You always know what they will do, and that makes them weak. But when someone is unpredictable, they instantly become threatening. They hold an aura of mystery that unsettles everyone around them. Think about it. The human brain is addicted to patterns. We crave stability, routines, predictability. When life moves exactly as we expect, we feel safe. But the moment someone breaks that pattern, the brain goes into survival mode. Heart rate increases, focus sharpens, and a quiet fear creeps in. This is why unpredictability carries such immense power. It keeps people on edge, makes them cautious, and forces them to respect boundaries they don't even understand. Imagine a workplace. One employee is always the same. When the boss gets angry, he apologizes. When the boss is happy, he smiles. When a problem happens, he panics. Within weeks, everyone can read him like a map. He becomes predictable, boring, and worse, easy to manipulate. Now think about another colleague. When the boss shouts, he doesn't always react the same way. Sometimes he answers with logic. Sometimes he laughs it off. Sometimes he just watches in silence. Nobody knows what's coming next. And because nobody can predict him, everyone treats him differently. With a little more respect, with a little more fear, with a lot more caution. This is the true effect of unpredictability. It creates a psychological barrier. It forces people to think twice before messing with you. It plants doubt in their minds. They hesitate, they hold back, and in that hesitation, you gain power. Science backs this up. Research from behavioral psychology shows that uncertainty activates the fear center of the brain, the amygdala. When people can't guess how you'll respond, they become cautious. Their brain whispers, "This person is not safe to play with." That little uncertainty is enough to shift the balance of power in your favor. So how do you make yourself unpredictable? Start by breaking your own patterns. If you're always angry when challenged, surprise them with calmness. If you're always calm, surprise them with a sharp response. Don't let anyone build a full map of your reactions. Change the rhythm. Keep them guessing. Control your appearances. Don't always enter the room the same way. Sometimes you appear confident, sometimes quiet, sometimes not at all. Even your absence can become part of your power. Another method is to delay responses. Not every message deserves an instant reply. Sometimes power comes from waiting. The longer you take, the more stories people build in their minds. And remember, imagination is always scarier than reality. Psychologists discovered long ago that even in experiments with animals, rewards that come at random times create the strongest attachment. Casinos run on this principle. People stay hooked because they never know when the next win is coming. You can apply the same rule in relationships, business, or leadership. Don't give validation in a fixed pattern. Don't show your emotions in the same way every time. Keep it unpredictable, and people will cling to your presence, always trying to figure you out. But here is the warning. Do not mistake chaos for unpredictability. Chaotic people look unstable. Nobody respects them. True power comes from controlled unpredictability. Every move you make should feel random to others, but intentional to you. The fool is chaotic. The powerful are unpredictable. Think of life like a chess game. If your opponent knows that you always move your knight in the first 3 turns, they will trap you. But if sometimes you play with the pawn, sometimes with the bishop, sometimes with silence. Suddenly they have no strategy. That's when you own the board. That's when you control the game. Life works the same way. In relationships, in careers, in social circles, in conflicts, people rely on prediction, break their ability to predict you, and you break their ability to control you. So, anchor this law deep into your identity. Say it to yourself and write it in the comments right now. I move without warning. I decide the rhythm. I am unpredictable. Let it sink into your mind, because this is the first law of dark psychology that makes you untouchable. Law 2. The law of emotional control. There's a reason why the person who can stay calm in chaos always wins. Most people are slaves to their emotions. When they get angry, their voice rises. When they feel jealous, their face shows it. When they are scared, their body language exposes them instantly. And the problem with this? The moment people can read your emotions, they can manipulate you. Emotional control is the second dark psychology law that makes you untouchable. Picture a heated argument. One person shouts louder and louder, veins popping, fists clenching. The other person, calm, collected, eyes steady. Who has the real power in this moment? Not the one making noise, but the one who refuses to be moved. The calm one controls the battlefield, because while everyone else burns their energy, he saves his. While they expose their weaknesses, he hides his. That's the true strength of emotional control. Science proves this too. Studies in emotional intelligence reveal that the ability to regulate emotions doesn't just make you seem more confident, it literally makes people trust and fear you more. The brain is wired to look for stability, so when you're the only one who can remain steady in a storm, people automatically see you as the leader, the authority, the untouchable one. Now imagine applying this in daily life. Your partner tries to push your buttons by bringing up old mistakes. Instead of reacting defensively, you just listen calmly, without showing anger or guilt. They expect a fight, but they get silence and composure. Suddenly, the game changes. They can't manipulate you through emotional pressure anymore. Or think about the workplace. A colleague tries to embarrass you in front of others. If you blush, stutter, or over-explain, you lose status instantly. But if you simply smile and respond with calm confidence, the tension flips. Everyone sees that you're in control, and your colleague looks like the fool. The secret is to never show your full emotional hand. That doesn't mean you stop feeling. You will still feel anger, jealousy, excitement, even fear. But you master the art of hiding them. You control your breathing, your tone, your facial expressions. You respond on your terms, not on impulse. Remember this, the one who controls their emotions controls the room. Of course, this power has to be used wisely. If you suppress everything without purpose, people may see you as cold or disconnected. But when you use emotional control strategically, it becomes terrifying. Imagine someone insults you brutally, expecting you to explode, but instead you just look at them calmly, maybe even with a small smile. That calmness is more intimidating than any punch, because it says, "You cannot touch me, I am untouchable." Anchor this law into your mind right now. Repeat it, type it in the comments. I control myself, no one controls me. That is the second law of dark psychology, and it's one of the hardest to master. But once you do, no argument, no manipulation, no chaos will ever shake you again. Law 3. The law of scarcity. Human beings always crave what they cannot easily have. This is not just a saying, it's hardwired psychology. When something is scarce, our brain automatically assigns it more value. This is why gold is precious. Not because it's the most useful metal, but because it's rare. The same law applies to people. If you are always available, always accessible, always giving, people stop valuing you. But when you create scarcity of your presence, your time, your energy, you instantly become more desirable, more powerful, and more respected. Think about your own life. Have you ever noticed how the person who texts you constantly, always replies instantly, and never says no eventually becomes invisible? At first, their attention feels flattering, but soon it loses its meaning. Why? Because the brain adapts. Constant availability breeds boredom. Now, flip it. Imagine someone who doesn't always reply right away, who sometimes disappears for days, who chooses carefully when to give their energy. You find yourself thinking about them more, wondering about them more, craving their attention. That's scarcity at work. Psychologists call this the principle of reactance. When something feels limited, people experience a strong desire to fight for it. Experiments have shown that when products are labeled limited edition, they sell out faster. Not because they're better, but because the mind panics at the idea of missing out. Apply that principle to your social presence. If your attention feels like a limited edition, people will chase it harder. But let's make this real with a story. Imagine a friend who's always free. Call him, and he picks up in one ring. Ask him to hang out, and he says yes instantly. He bends his schedule, cancels his plans, and makes you his priority every single time. At first, you might like it, but deep down, you start to feel he's desperate. His time feels cheap. Now, think of another friend. Call him, and sometimes he doesn't pick up. Text him, and sometimes he replies late, sometimes not at all. Ask him to meet, and he checks his schedule first. Strangely, you respect this friend more. You wait longer, you think about him more, you value his yes more. This is the law of scarcity in action. To master this, you must resist the temptation to overgive. People think giving endlessly will make others love them. In truth, it does the opposite. Love, respect, and power grow when you learn to withhold strategically. Don't always be the first to reach out. Don't always be the one who bends. Don't always show up at every event or say yes to every request. When people realize they can't always have your presence becomes valuable. But here is the dark side. If you overdo scarcity, you may come off as arrogant or detached. The power lies in balance. Give just enough to keep them close, then pull away to remind them of your value. Appear, then disappear. Speak, then go silent. Say yes, then say no. Keep people slightly hungry for you, and they'll never take you for granted. Anchor this law into your identity right now. Say it and type it in the comments. I am rare. I am valuable. I am not available to everyone. This is the third law of dark psychology. Master it, and people will chase you instead of you chasing them. Law 4, the law of detachment. One of the most dangerous weapons in psychology is detachment. People lose power because they are too attached to opinions, to outcomes, to relationships, even to respect. The more attached you are, the easier you are to control. But when you learn to detach, when nothing outside of you has the power to shake you, you become untouchable. Think about the last time you argued with someone you cared about. Maybe it was a partner, a friend, or even a family member. The reason their words hurt so much was because you were attached to their approval. If a stranger had said the exact same thing, it wouldn't have mattered. But because you wanted their love, their validation, their agreement, you gave them the power to wound you. Detachment removes that weapon from their hands. Imagine this. Someone insults you in front of a crowd, expecting to humiliate you. If you are attached to the crowd's opinion, you'll feel embarrassed, defensive, maybe even angry. But if you are detached, if you genuinely don't care about the approval of the crowd, then their insult dies in the air. It doesn't touch you, and suddenly, the power flips. The crowd sees you unaffected, and the one trying to hurt you looks foolish. This law works everywhere. In business, when you look desperate for a deal, people sense it and push you into weaker positions. But when you are detached, when you can walk away at any time, the negotiation bends in your favor. In relationships, when one person is afraid of losing the other, that fear becomes a chain around their neck. But the person who can stay calm, even at the thought of loss, silently holds the leash. Detachment is not about not caring. It is about caring selectively, choosing carefully what deserves your emotional energy and what doesn't. Psychology confirms this too. Studies on attachment theory show that people with secure detachment styles often hold more influence because they don't cling or panic under pressure. They remain steady while others fall apart. People are drawn to those who don't need them desperately. Needing less makes you powerful. But make no mistake, detachment is difficult. It takes training to remain calm when provoked, to walk away when tempted, to release control when your ego screams for validation. It feels unnatural at first, because human beings are wired for attachment. That's why the few who master detachment appear almost superhuman. They walk through chaos without losing their balance. They endure betrayal without crumbling. They survive failure without breaking. And that resilience makes them terrifying to their enemies. Think of ancient warriors who walked into battle ready to die. Their enemies feared them, not because they were stronger, but because they were detached from the outcome. They had nothing to lose. And someone who has nothing to lose is the most powerful person in any room. So remind yourself of this law every single day. If they can't control what you care about, they can't control you. Whisper it in your mind, write it in the comments. I own my emotions. I release attachments. I am untouchable. This is the fourth law of dark psychology, and once you make it your identity, no betrayal, no insult, no loss will ever have the power to destroy you again. Law 5, the law of controlled exposure. Powerful people understand one thing clearly. The more people know about you, the less power you hold. Most people overshare. They talk about their dreams, their fears, their failures, even their private struggles. They believe being an open book will bring them closer to others. In truth, it makes them vulnerable. The law of controlled exposure says, reveal only what strengthens your image and keep the rest in the shadows. Think about it. When someone tells you every detail about their life, you may feel close for a moment, but soon you realize you can predict them. You know what makes them happy, what breaks them, what keeps them awake at night, and whether you mean to or not, you begin to lose respect. Now imagine the opposite. A person who speaks less, who doesn't explain everything, who reveals parts of their life selectively. Their silence creates questions. Questions create curiosity, and curiosity creates power. This is why mysterious people hold such a magnetic pull. When you don't know someone's full story, your mind fills in the blanks, and the mind always exaggerates. You imagine them stronger, smarter, more interesting than they may even be. That gap between what you know and what you don't is the source of their power. Controlled exposure doesn't mean you stay silent forever. It means you share strategically. You decide what the world sees. You let people see your victories, but not the sweat and chaos behind them. You let them hear your voice, but not every thought in your head. You allow them access, but never the keys to your soul. And here's the dark truth. The less people know, the harder it is for them to hurt you. History is full of examples. Leaders, spies, entrepreneurs, even spiritual masters, all of them carefully managed what others saw. They revealed enough to inspire loyalty, but never enough to be predictable. Their enemies were always guessing, always doubting, always one step behind. That is the essence of this law. So learn to protect your story. Never explain more than necessary. Never give people the full map of your weaknesses. Keep mystery alive in your relationships, in your work, in your presence. Because once people believe they fully know you, they stop respecting you. But when you hold back, when you keep them curious, they never stop watching, never stop wondering, never stop chasing. Write this into your mind right now. Type it in the comments. I reveal only what I choose. I control the story. I am untouchable. That is the fifth law of dark psychology. You've just unlocked 5 laws that separate the ordinary from the untouchable. The law of unpredictability, the law of emotional control, the law of scarcity, the law of detachment, and the law of controlled exposure. Each one is a weapon, but together they form armor. Armor that makes you harder to read, harder to manipulate, harder to break. But remember, these laws are not meant for cruelty. They are meant for survival, for strength, for freedom. In a world where everyone is trying to control everyone else, you now hold the keys to your own power. You no longer react blindly. You no longer beg for attention. You no longer give away your soul for cheap validation. From this moment, you choose power. So if you're ready to live by these laws, write it below. I am untouchable. Because once you accept that identity, nothing and no one will ever control you again.